Thanks for tuning in and watching part one of my interview with my friend Titilayo. So now here's part two. We continue the conversation about friendship, but also entrepreneurship. So I hope you'll watch. So, T, what would you say is your superpower? And superpower being, what is the thing that you do with ease and well, and it helps other people?
Mm. I would say intuition,
Mm.
spiritual intuition. There's something about people's energy, and because I'm naturally an empath,
Now,
and
tell people what that is, because there may be some people who are watching that's like, well, I don't know what that is.
right. So an empath is someone who tends to absorb people's energy. So you tend to step into someone's shoes, and if you're ungrounded, you over identify with what they're going through. So if they're feeling sadness, and this could be anywhere. This could be on the train, it could be when you're out and about. You'll notice that you're feeling fine, and then you go home and you have a cough and a cold, or you might just be feeling heavy because you've absorbed other people's energy. It's a little bit like vampires sucking blood. If you're not careful and you don't protect your energy field, you just take on a lot, and usually quite sensitive as well. You might tend to have allergies or food sensitivities. Your body, your biochemistry might be quite heightened because possibly at a young age you learned to be hypervigilant because you had to be sure that you were safe. And so you learn to really observe your environment and learn to really pick up cues of when there's danger and when there's not. Mm.
So I interrupted you to explain that as you was explaining your superpower is your intuition.
Yes, yes, yes. Going back to that thought. So I would say that intuition is my superpower because I can be with somebody and I just feel their soul. I don't know how to explain it. I can feel in a sense what their struggles are. I can feel even almost where it's come from because I'm very interested in people's history. So I'm always asking questions about, so who is your dad? Who's your mom? What did they do? You know, I always ask you these questions, right?
I'm
Yeah,
like,
like,
I'm fully aware I'm in, you're therapizing me right now. Yeah, we've
I'm
had
trying
that.
not to, but I'm genuinely so curious because I just think we have these patterns that we've developed through the years. And so when I know the whole person, it gets me in the space where I get to understand when they're talking to me in present time, I get to understand what they're going through. I can even get a sense of a vision of where they'd like to get to. And so this is the piece about alignments. When I'm with a person, I can feel the blocks and I can feel the things that are hindering, and so I can see where it is that people want to be in alignment. But of course, like you said, it's not everything that you blurt out from your mouth you mention because you might not be ready on that journey. But I would say that I have quite a connection to people's spirituality.
I would fully agree with you on that. I can still remember there would be times when we would plan to spend the day together or hang out. One of our things that we love to do is go get massages, right? Foot massages.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
training for that. But I always I would remember how we might plan that we're going to go into this place or go to this place for dinner. And you would say, I can't go in there right now.
I
And
don't
you
remember that.
remember that?
Interesting.
Yeah, we might have planned to eat at a certain restaurant. And on
Mm-hmm.
our way there, you'd be like, do you mind if we change? Because I can't take that. Like you couldn't, maybe that particular day, you couldn't handle a lot of people. So then we would
Interesting.
go find some smaller place. Like, Hutongs had the coolest little,
Yes. Yes.
but
Wow.
because, and I'm such, like, when it comes to things like that, I really have, I think, grace because I notice people's energy, but I don't absorb it.
Mm, mm, mm,
I'm
mm,
very
mm,
aware when a person, like, honestly, if someone tells me I'm fine, I know when you're not. But I
mm.
will not feel what you're feeling because I'm like,
Wow. So interesting that you noticed that. It's
oh,
you
always.
really know me. That is so true. I I go into a room and I feel the energy, and there are times where I do have to say, this isn't for me right now. When I'm in a more grounded space, and I think this is also part of that introverted, extroverted side of things, where I don't feed off of people's energy a lot. I really need to be careful how I manage that. Whereas with extroverts, it's just like bring it on. And an interesting thing is, I have so many extroverted like you who are like, come, let's do this, let's do that. And I love the safety that I have in the relationship to say, sorry, I don't mean to be a killjoy sometimes, but I can't do energy like you, girl. You,
Yeah.
you can feed and feed. I needed to be at a pace. I needed to be at a pace. Yeah.
But what I loved about our friendship is you would teach me to start noticing those things even in myself. Well,
Mm,
because I had just been, like you said, we are creatures of patterns, right? And habits. And very rarely do we question why we do what we do or if it's even serving me.
mm,
We don't always ask those questions. And so being in relationship with you challenged me sometime to ask the question, why do I need? Why is it that I could spend a whole weekend at every party
mm-hmm. Yep.
and be like ready for the next one?
Mm-hmm.
And then sometime it would simply be because one, T, when I'm usually at a huge gathering with people, I'm really only connected to one or two.
Mm-hmm.
So it appears that, oh my God, Kanisha's the life of the party. She's in there. No, no, no. I make my rounds and then I find my people or person. And so I'm really not in all of it, although it appears that I am.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I enjoy one on one
Yes.
or small group way more than I enjoy the whole party.
Mm, mm,
So, but people assume that, oh my God, Kanisha like knows. Even my coach, she is always saying, "Oh, Kanisha's such a networker. She knows everybody." I'm like, I really don't. I'm just really comfortable being in the space until I find my person.
right.
But it
Right.
appears that I'm cool in the space. I'm comfortable, like I'll be me in the space, but I didn't mean I've worked the room the way most people think I have.
Mm, mm,
Because
mm.
I will notice, and maybe it's misperception sometime, like, oh, that they don't want me over there
Mm-hmm.
on this side of the room. So, and it could be my own, like soul wound of rejection,
Right.
but there are just times when I know, right? Because there are times when I'm in those spaces because I know my soul wound. I will push myself
Mm-hmm.
to go like, oh, they don't like they feeling me. Oh, let me go meet them anyway because
Mm,
it's my internal voice and it's not true. And sometimes I roll up over there. I was like, oh no, no, you were right. You were right.
mm.
Like
It's true.
run, run
It's,
was it Forrest run.
I like that you mentioned about soul wounds, because these soul wounds get triggered all the time in these environments, whether it's at home, in the workplace, in relationships. And when you actually know what these soul wounds are, then you're able to do something about it. I recently had a situation, and I didn't want to go to an event because there was a certain dynamic that was triggering the soul wound in me. And I was thinking to myself, this is the perfect events to go to. Why don't you want to go? And I had to pause and just do some work. And I realized, it was so interesting. It took me back to primary school when I just moved from Nigeria and I moved to Senegal and I moved to this international school. And all of a sudden, English was my second language. I had to start everything from scratch. And there was this group of cool girls. They were the cool girls. You know, it's always them. And you always want to be in that crew. And I was
Right.
always trying to fit into that group and to belong. And I couldn't quite get in. And so there was always almost this sense of superiority. And then in a sense, built that inferiority complex inside of myself. And then I realized, oh, this person triggers that in me, triggers that sense in which I already feel small in myself. And so I actually didn't want to go because I didn't want that trigger to come up.
Yeah.
So I had to deal with all those wounds and deal with all those things. And then we met and we had such a great conversation because then I realized, oh, actually, they're going through their stuff as well. They have their soul wounds, they have their stuff that they're going through. And we had such a great time in the end. And it's interesting because, as you mentioned, you work the room and you notice different vibes from different people, right? You know, those that you click with and those that maybe you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. T, what do you wish more people knew or understood about themselves or being authentic?
Hmm. Ah, I wish they understood that it's okay not to be perfect.
Oh,
Honestly, this sense of perfectionism and not being good enough, a lot of times we think that people are thinking about us throughout our day. But the truth is, we each have enough troubles of our own than to be worrying about that next person because we're caught up in that hamster wheel
yeah.
going over and over in our overthinking and our analyzing of ourselves. And I'm speaking for myself as well. I could do the most amazing things, and then the next day there's this slump that comes with, I could have done that better, I could have said that better, why did I say that part? That imposter syndrome just comes, and the other people are thinking, wow, she did such a brilliant job. But in myself, I can go into that state. And I just wish we would just pause for a minute and really connect to our brilliance. Because when we spend more time in our brilliance, wow, wow, the way we impact each other is so different. So different.
I think it's beautiful you said that. But what it made me think about is how I wish the world would be open to the fact that we are not either or, but we're but and,
Mm, mm, mm,
you
mm,
know?
mm,
So
mm,
that then it becomes a safe space everywhere you go to have the conversation that says, I have imposter syndrome. Instead of someone going, no, not you, trying to talk you off the edge.
right, yeah.
Everybody in the room would go, absolutely you do, because we do too.
Yeah. Welcome to the club.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
I was sharing with who was I was talking to someone the other night, and I said, "Oh, so one of my clients is she's an older she worked with me before, and then she's
Hmm.
also a photographer. So now I'm hiring her to do my pictures." And we
Hmm.
was talking, and she was reminding me of something. She was like, "I think someone once told me." Right, and she's telling me my own words, and I was like, "Whatever." She's like, "I
Mm,
can't believe I tell you that." I said, "Listen, I go through the same things. I just know the tools and strategies where I don't have to go through it for a day or week or year. I go through it for moments now. And that's the difference, right? We all struggle. We all have the thing, but the awareness allows us to, I always say, put it on a timer,
mm, hmm.
right?
Yes.
And that timer might be like, I'm about to watch this 30-minute show. And then my bigger, higher self say, and when it's over,
Mhm.
do the thing that you're scared to do or do the thing that's hard. But it's not, I can't tap out for a long time. I can't stay in my little self or my I can't operate out of my soul wound for a length of time that is detrimental to the dream and the goals that I'm trying to accomplish.
That's right. So interesting you said that. I recently had quite a powerful moment where the calling in my life has been to really support men because I believe that there aren't enough safe spaces for men to just explore what's going on for them. And I but I knew that part of that calling is if I'm going to step into that arena, then I've got to heal these beliefs, these core beliefs that I have about men. And I'd recently gone through a separation with my ex-partner, and I knew that until I faced this thing and really forgave from my heart, I couldn't really go into this vision. But I was feeling scared. I don't want to face this thing because it's too hard. It's been my shield for so long. So I went to this Jay Shetty event. It was his 8 Rules of Love tour. And at the end, right at the end of the show, he asked the question, is there anyone you haven't told you love for a long time? And straight away, I knew it was my ex. I knew it was him. And he says, raise your hand. So I'm sheepishly raising my hand, thinking, I'm raising my hand, but I hope you don't see me. He goes all the way to the back. And I'm like, okay, phew, I'm safe. He's not going to pick me out. Somehow he asked the question again, and he's all the way in the back. So I'm thinking, if I raise my hand, he's not going to see me. So I raise my hand, and I'm the only one raising my hand in the front. I do not know how Jay Shetty decided within a millisecond, he transported himself right to where I was. He was like, you. I was like, oh no. Now, guess what was going through my mind?
Wow.
I'm a psychotherapist. I do this work. I don't want to be in public sharing my all about my vulnerability because I should know this stuff. And in that moment, the voice inside of me was saying, but you're human. You're a human being. And oftentimes, it's difficult for a doctor to perform their own surgery, right? So I raise my hand and he calls me out and he says, so what is this? And I say, well, he's been my best friend for years and I love him dearly, but I blocked my heart because of the pain. And then he whispers in my ear, can you go and get your phone? I'm like, oh, dang. I know what he's going to do. And he says, get your phone and we're going to go on stage. By this time, I am bawling my eyes out in front of 1,500 people.
Oh my goodness.
Seriously. He takes me on stage and then he says to me, I want you to block out all these people and I want you to just pretend as if this is your moment with your ex. I call my ex and he was so gracious. He was kind of, what's going on here? He had no idea I was in the Jay Shetty show, right?
Wow.
Well, I'm saying to him, I'm really sorry. I really do love you. You've been my best friend. I know we've had these complications, but I just don't want you to be left feeling that I don't care about you and I don't love you deeply. And you could hear in his voice, it's almost like this sigh of relief. He goes, I'm so glad you said that. And thank you for that. As soon as I dropped the phone, I literally bawled my eyes out on Jay Shetty's shoulder for like 2 minutes. Literally just it was like this big brother that I never had, well, you know what I mean, in present time.
Yeah.
And he held me and it was quiet. It was like you could hear the pin drop on the floor. And then at the end of it, the most amazing thing happened I never thought possible. Because when you open yourself to vulnerability and you get rid of that shield, you open yourself to love. People came and they were hugging me. Strangers, thank you for sharing, hugging. It was like I made a whole new world of 1,500 people as friends. And it was the most beautiful experience I've had in a long, long time. And it taught me that I'm human first. Before any accolades, roles, responsibilities, anything that we put on ourselves, we're human first. And we crave forgiveness, we crave love, we crave connection, we crave to belong. And that matters.
What was happening inside of you that make you say yes to getting the phone, making the call? Like, what made you go through with it? Because you could have been like, yo, I'm not going up there and like make this call. Why were you willing to be that vulnerable in front of so many people?
So I'll share with you. In Beijing, and I mentioned this to you before, there was a point that I reached of real darkness, real hopelessness, where I thought, I'm ready to check out. You know why? I was so disillusioned. I was so tired. I was living in this facade of all the responsibilities and expectations everybody else, and including myself, had on myself. And I was exhausted. And I couldn't believe that I got to a place where I literally felt I'm ready to check out. Literally. And I thought to myself, how do you get here? It's because I was misaligned and I wasn't living in my true purpose. And it was almost like I didn't know how to love myself, talk alone, loving other people. And it was from that moment that I said, I will never let this happen to me again. Whatever it takes for me to face whatever I need to face, the courage I need, because I want to feel alive. It's a hard place to be. I'm grateful for that experience because it gives me empathy for people who go through it. I really get that. And so in this moment, I was thinking, this is what I signed up for. I want to live. I want to live in the purpose with which I'm called. And if this thing is going to be the barrier that stops me from it, I'm ready to give it up because I'm not going back to that place.
Yeah.
I'm,
Wow.
I'm not going back to that place. I'm going to this place. And if it takes Jay Shetty
And 1,500 people.
if it takes to bring me to that place, sign me up. I'm ready.
I
So,
love it. T,
mm,
what do you want women to know? Because one of the things that very thoughtful coaching is all about, this particular podcast, is I started this because I really want women to live their life dream, like the journey that they was designed for. Because I'm
mhm,
crazy enough to believe that this God that I serve is intentional and that
mhm,
he creates all of us with a purpose, for purpose, on purpose.
mm.
And I think that fear, we can call it a lot of things, the
Yes.
devil, I don't have the money, blah, 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 blah. Fear keeps most women from pursuing their thing. What is it you will offer these women who may be watching, who is thinking, wow, these women, I hope they see this, they are, that we're authentic and that there is a different level.
Mm,
What do you want them to know? What do you think they need to hear to move them into that alignment you keep mentioning?
mm. Number one, you need to honor yourself.
Mm.
What I mean by that is you need to be your biggest fan, your numero uno advocate. You have to value yourself in a way that nobody else is really going to value you. And what I mean is it's even as simple as something like price. Because that's where your value comes up, right?
Yeah.
People tell you, "Oh, I think you're worth this." You go to school, you go to university, and by the time you come out, there's a set salary that you're supposed to make. And this is your income, and this is how much you make, and this is how you progress as you move up the ladder. No, 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 no. You get to choose what that value is and do not compromise because the best will come to you. I remember once I gave up a job that was offering me $250,000
Mm.
because they asked me to do something with my children that I couldn't do. Girl, that was hard. I ain't gonna lie. It was hard.
Yeah.
I knew I could have taken the job. The trajectory of my life would have been different, but guess what? I wouldn't have been in alignment because the integrity of my soul would have been compromised.
Mm.
I said no to that. Oh, that was tough. And now I'm doing exactly what I love to do. Now, the abundance will come in its totality, right? What I get to do is I get to sleep at night.
Yeah.
I sleep at night. And I don't mean sleep, I mean deep, deep sleep. Because every day I wake up, and when I say no to someone who says, compromise your integrity, compromise your value, I'm saying yes to the abundance, to the flow, and to the real exchange of energy, which I believe is what money is, that I'm really worth. And
Yeah.
that's happened over and over. Something will just come and I'm like, thank you. I met my ideal client. So don't compromise.
Mm.
Do not compromise on your value. Do
Yeah.
not compromise on your integrity because you're worth it. You really are worth it.
Ladies, listen, I imagine maybe a few of my fellow guys will watch this too, but if you don't get anything else from this conversation, please get that, rewind it, hold on to it, write it
Mm,
down. There is something magical about tapping into who God created you to be.
mm,
I know with all truth and all certainty what TT is talking about and how honest and real and necessary. Like we can talk all night, but you helped me go through that money journey where I had to clear some false beliefs, committed to it at the end of 2020. I, these years get all mixed up for me. 2022,
Mm, mm,
2023 has come in. I like to really and truly, Very Thought has made more money in these 6 months than it has made years.
mm, mm,
And it's because, like you said, getting to that place where I believe, really believe, like not just say, oh, I kind of believe, really
mm,
believe that I know, one, that I'm worth it, that what
mhm,
I'm offering the world is worth it,
mm,
that I am absolutely moving in my gifts and my purpose. And
mhm,
guess what? God is real cool with me charging prices for my gifts and my thing. Because I used to think it was a bad thing to do that. And
mm,
just blessing after blessing. So,
mhm,
as I said, T and I can talk all night. We probably
mhm.
will after we start talking to you guys.
Yep.
And continue to watch. Follow T over at T. Where's your YouTube? No, you have. Are you on YouTube?
I am on YouTube. And so we're not going to add this part to the. I'm more on Instagram,
Okay.
and I don't even know what my YouTube tag is. My goodness, I only have my website.
So we'll go. We'll go. Okay. So
Wait,
make
wait.
whatever
Okay,
you do.
no, actually, Instagram is what's the best way to do it? What would you say is the best
I'm gonna
way?
put your link. I'm gonna tell them. Follow T. Make sure you check out her link below.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So I want you to stay connected because not only like T comes on Mondays and do Monday mantra.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to stay connected so that you can stay clear, get connected to who God created you to be, and make sure you begin to align with who you really are so that you
Mm.
can find the fullness of yourself. T, I want to thank you so much for coming on. You are my best friend. You are my soulmate. Like I like to think of Grey's Anatomy. You and what was the surgeon? They were two female friends where they understood. They
Mm-hmm.
were the soulmates, and Derek was her lover and her.
Mm.
You really are my heart, and I love
Mm.
you forever. And I
Mm.
cannot wait until we meet in the. I'm gonna say we're gonna meet in the UAE.
Yes, let's do it. Let's manifest, lady. Kanisha. Kanisha, I said your name right.
Tito, Titilayo. Yes, you said it.
Oh, Kanisha, you are such a gift and a trailblazer. I remember in Beijing, because people don't know your Beijing journey, you were one of the first up and coming life coaches, and you set the pace for hundreds of women out there to really step into their power, including myself. You used to do these every it was morning little snippets of encouragement, and I remember then when I was working full time in an international school, I used to listen to you every single day just to get that lift,
Wow.
just to give me that motivation. And then watching your business flourish and a lot of the things, and you give so generously with your knowledge. You shared so much with me and so many other women about coaching and just stepping into that arena fearlessly. Now, when we spoke, I knew what was happening now
Gremlin,
that you work,
gremlin.
keep it real,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I've watched your journey, I've watched your impact, and it is truly a blessing and a joy to be here with you. Thank you for all you do, because you don't see all of the impact, but you are quietly serving women who have this spark within and don't know how to start. And when they see you, if she can do it, I can do it too. So,
Wow.
on behalf of all of us, thank you. Thank you truly for all that you do. It's beautiful.
Thank you. And listen, now that I have you here, I want to invite you to join me October 6th through the 9th on my retreat, the Be You Awakening Retreat. Listen, if you have been looking for an amazing getaway where you can really get reconnected to the woman you was created to be, where you're ready to start that business or write the book or just get back in touch with those dreams that God has placed inside of you. You want to be at this retreat because all you need is a new thought, a new way of thinking, and the courage to do it. And I want to offer you tools and strategies to get you there. So join us at the Be Your Awakening Retreat, October 6th through 7th in Lake Gaston, North Carolina. Go to my website, check out the information.